Tanse, I'm Krisanachkate. Welcome to APTN National News. Thank you for joining us. The family of the late Ashlee Shingoose will finally be able to share their grief with the judge who put their murderer behind bars. It's an important opportunity they were denied during the serial killer's court proceedings last summer when Shingoose's identity was still unknown and was simply referred to as Mashkade Bijiikwe, or Buffalo Woman, in the first-degree murder charges. Sav Jonza brings us this brief report.
31-year-old Ashlee Shingoose went missing in March of 2022 in downtown Winnipeg. It was around this time that 3 other First Nations women were murdered by Jeremy Skibicki, who was served a life sentence in 2024. Shingoose is believed to be the first victim. Her family searched for answers regarding her disappearance for years, believing she may be Buffalo Woman. DNA evidence as well as post-sentencing assistance from Skibicki confirmed her identity in March of this year. The Manitoba Court of King's Bench says at the request of the Crown, a hearing will be held August 15th to receive the victim and community impact statements of her family and community. They say it is a process both appropriate and necessary given the exceptional circumstances of the trial. It is believed her remains lay in Winnipeg's Brady Road landfill. The province of Manitoba has previously announced it will search the landfill for Shingoose's remains.
Meanwhile, the family of Ashlee Shingoose is thanking everyone who supported them throughout their long and painful journey. The family also extended their gratitude to Chief Justice Glenn Joyal, to the court, and to all of those who continue to stand with the families of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and Two-Spirit people. In a statement released with support of the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs, the Shingoose family said, quote, "This upcoming hearing will be an emotional and deeply personal moment for our family as we are given the opportunity to present our victim impact statements before the court, an opportunity that should have been granted long ago. While Ashlee was previously identified as Mashkade Bijiikwe, or Buffalo Woman, we are grateful that her identity has now been formally recognized, allowing her voice and our pain as a family to be acknowledged in a meaningful way." The family has asked for privacy and continued prayers. A meeting between Prime Minister Mark Carney and a number of Métis nations wrapped up in Ottawa on Thursday afternoon, even though one of the largest organizations, the Manitoba Métis Federation, chose to boycott the meeting. It didn't seem to dampen the enthusiasm of those who attended. APTN's Fraser Needham has that story.
Métis Nation of Ontario President Margaret Froh was all smiles as she approached the microphones for a post-summit press conference Thursday afternoon. She says it is clear the Carney government wants to work with Métis governments on economic projects, and they in turn want to take part.
We had a wonderful tone in the meeting. It was very respectful. As I said, all of the Métis leaders had an opportunity to speak and ask questions and offer their comments, as did the ministers. Some really good dialogue, questions asked back and forth. And I think what was clear is that that there's a lot of interest and support in working together and doing that in a way that respects Métis Section 35 rights.
Métis Nation of Alberta President Andrea Sandmeyer says the meeting was largely an opportunity for the governments to get to know each other, although no specific economic projects were discussed at this point.
Today was focused on C5, the implementation of it, and the Indigenous Advisory Committee and the Major Projects Office and those things. That's what it was about.
However, the Liberals have faced fierce criticism at how they rushed their One Economy Act legislation through Parliament this spring, particularly from First Nations who say it was done without proper consultation. But Indigenous Services Minister Mandy Galmasti says all 3 summit meetings with First Nations, Inuit and Métis leaders have been positive, with a clear message from Indigenous rights holders that they want to be part of the government's economic development plans.
I think for me, what I heard in all 3 summits is really a desire to define where they want to be in the economic space, what they're looking for in terms of that development for their future members of the nation. That was really a strong takeaway for me. The capacity that they want to build as part of this process, the commitment that they see from this government.
One thing the government did not want to talk about is why the Métis Nation of British Columbia was only offered observer status and declined to attend, even though this nation was until recently part of the Métis National Council. Crown Indigenous Relations Minister Rebecca Alty says they do not qualify constitutionally as a legitimate Indigenous organization at present.
The Métis Nation of British Columbia is still going through that Section 35 review. Yeah.
The government says it plans to have a major projects office and Indigenous Advisory Council in place by Labor Day. Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.
An annual canoe trip in the Northwest Territories, organized by the Clecho government, had to airlift some of their band members after an unexpected wildfire encounter. Video journalist Bruce Dela Cruz has that story.
The annual Trails of Our Ancestors canoe trip sees Clecho citizens, mainly youth, canoe from their respective communities to the annual Clecho government gathering happening in Betchico this year. Founded as a way for Clecho citizens to reconnect on the paths taken by their ancestors, this year's canoe trip saw a record-breaking 160 paddlers and 28 canoes taking part. 42 paddlers from Gamity were evacuated via airlift after encountering a wildfire on the way to Betchico on August 3rd. While some were able to return to Gamity before smoke conditions worsened, others were flown to Betchico and are staying with family or friends in Betchico or nearby Yellowknife while waiting for smoke conditions to subside before they can return home. There were no reported injuries during the evacuation. Canoe groups from the communities of Wekwity and Wati are safe and are scheduled to arrive in Betchico this weekend. In a statement released on the Clecho government website, they said of the situation that we know the sudden turn of events may have been difficult, and we're proud of the strength and calm shown by the Gamity group. The annual Clecho government gathering is next week in Betchico, where they are celebrating 20 years of self-government under the Clecho Agreement. Bruce Dela Cruz, APTN National News, Yellowknife.
APTN's Annette Francis is up next to tell us all about one of the longest-running powwows in northeastern Canada. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back. The longest-running powwow in northeastern Canada is held every August long weekend on Manitoulin Island in Ontario. APTN's Annette Francis recently attended the festivities. This story is about the powwow's history and how the event has evolved over the years.
Hundreds gathered for the grand entry of Wakon First Nations annual powwow celebration. Among the dancers is Karen Pheasant. She's surprised at this year's crowd.
I'm a university professor in Alberta, so I haven't been to our home powwow in quite a few years. And when I came yesterday morning at 10:30 in the morning, which I thought was early, it was packed. I just cannot get over it. And there's so many people that, today I was pointing at this one or that dancer, and it's my generation. They're retired, and so they're coming back home.
Wakon held its first powwow back in 1961. Pheasant says it was a group of women that wanted to bring the celebration of song and dance to the community.
It's my auntie, Marjorie Mishabanishma, and a few other ladies, Josephine Green, Josephine Pelche. A few of the ladies, most of them were teachers. And they wanted to bring that, and it was a practice that was more common in the prairie provinces. So a delegation of these women went to the prairie provinces, I think it's Saskatchewan, and went to observe, went to watch, and brought kind of a synopsis or a piece of that culture back to Wakon. It was still new. The church to this day still has strong influence and impact. So, and even though it was 1951 when the Indian Act changed, we still were in the mire of it, so to say. And so the powwow came, but it was on a stage in the arena.
Gordy Ojik remembers that time. He and his brother snuck into the old arena to see what was happening. That's what inspired him to learn more about his culture and traditions. He's been dancing ever since.
We're looking at the dragon and we see these people sitting on this, it was a stage. Mind you, The first time we had a powwow, they used to put that powwow on a stage, like a show, like Country Wild Bill West show. You remember Wild Bill West? West show was, I think that was their idea. When they had these Indians, I'll call them Indians, because that's the part. When we first seen them, they were Indians to us, because we seen them, and we said, and they had the roach, the Indian gear on. They're practicing and they're singing, yo, 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 yo. And then me and Scanner going like, nah, this guy. Indian.
According to Pheasant, the powwow eventually moved from the stage to these grounds, and interest grew.
During the civil rights era, the late 60s and early 70s, during the American Indian movement, AIM, there was a big splurge. So we were so huge, we were so big during that time, during the civil rights era of the late 60s, early 70s. And then as in 1985, when Bill C-31 and the rights for Indigenous women to regain their rights, I think research has shown that there was a population increase and people wanting to reclaim their identity, their culture. And I do recall in the late 80s, there was another explosion of interest and activity, people returning back to the reserves.
The event draws thousands of visitors every year. Luke Wasagijic says that's why Wakon Tourism has been hosting a cultural pavilion since 2014.
We get a lot of European visitors and a lot of Canadian visitors, but it's also, it's about providing education, right? So we have workshops throughout the weekend on history of the Great Lakes. We have arts presentations. We have a special smoke dance presentation. So it's all about providing educational opportunities for the visitors.
This year's attendance was a record number.
This year is a very large event. We have over 500 dancers. We have a number of drums here. And yesterday I was told within a 2-hour time span, over 3,000 people came through the gates. So it's really showing how big this event has grown for Wakon, and I can't say enough how proud I am of our community, our events coordinators, all the volunteers, and all of the dancers and the drums who have come to participate in our cultural event this weekend.
For Pheasant, the practice of powwow is about cultural sustainability.
Talking with my children, my grandchildren, I'm telling them this isn't just about putting some stuff off and on and hopping around. It's about the sacredness. It's about to incorrectly use an English word, holy. This is very sacred, and I tell my grandchildren, take care of this and it will take care of you as this has taken care of me. And now my children.
I'll have more from the powwow tomorrow. Annette Francis, APTN National News, Wakon First Nation.
Staying in Wakon, for more than 60 years, the Wakon Powwow on Manitoulin Island has attracted dancers and singers from across Turtle Island. APTN News spoke to a few who were well-seasoned dancers and others who were forging new adventures. Once again, here's Annette Francis.
Wakon's powwow celebration is held every August long weekend at the Thunderbird Park. Bruce Smoke and his family make the trek here each powwow season from Alderville First Nation. They're a tight-knit group.
I have 2 grown boys now. One is the lead singer of the Charging Horse Singers. My other son is singing with them right now, and they're both full-grown men. And then I have two full-grown daughters, and we have 11 grandchildren in total, and they all participate in some way of dancing or singing, or we have even a little toddler that's still in diapers, but he's always around the drum and dancing and seeing all the outfits and everything all the time, and they listen to powwow music at home. And
according to Smoke, it's become a way of life. The love for drumming and dance began when he was a young teenager growing up in Toronto. He's been coming to this powwow since the 1970s.
Maybe in 1976 I was here. We came with a group from Hamilton, and we competed here, and and we were lucky enough to place at the time, so it was pretty interesting. And when you place and feel that competition and kind of stuff, it gets into your blood and just makes you want to go to the next one and the next one and the next one. So.
Smoke's granddaughter Clarity is thankful for the life on the trail.
Without Powwow, I don't know what I would be doing, right? Without learning the things that I did learn, especially from my grandparents, I don't know where I would be, because there's so much kindness and so much love, especially when you travel with family, or even if you don't and you build your own family here in the different powwows and stuff, you're able to build that sense of community.
Nina Toulouse from Whitefish River First Nation has been jingle dress dancing for 3 years. A year after her mother passed away, she was gifted a red dress. It's been a healing journey.
Like, okay, that's another way of advocating for missing American Indigenous women and girls, and not only for them, but for my mother too as well, and for my own healing. So when I put that dress on, it's not only healing for me, but like I do that spirit work for all those who need that healing, and for those women who are still lost and still needing to return back home.
Sky Ngueo Owen Mayo has been on the trail for about 10 years. It's his first time at the Wakon Powwow.
It's literally just perfect, you know. I love the whole sense of camping, and it brings back those old memories, right? You know, back in those, for me, the 90s, there was a lot more campers than there is like today, right? You know, we still have some camping, but it's kind of like nostalgic flashback to see so many people camping again. So it's been a wonderful time so far.
As this powwow wraps up, many of these dancers will be preparing for the next one. I'll have one more story from here. Annette Francis, APTN National News, Wakon First Nation.
We have more stories for you after the break. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. The Saskatoon Exhibition is one of the city's biggest summer celebrations. An Indigenous art exhibit and musician are featured at this year's event. APTN video journalist Rachel May spoke with some of the people bringing Indigenous culture to the main stage.
When I look back in my childhood, it would be incredible to see somebody that looks like me up on a stage. And so music has given me so much that giving back like that, that's the whole reason why that I do this.
Raven Reed is an Indigenous folk singer who shares her life story through music. She is on the Roost Street stage at 5:30 and 7:30 p.m. from July 31st to August 7th at Prairieland Park. As a 60 Scoop survivor, Reed says her songs reflect her experiences after being silenced for much of her life.
I tell the truth, and because of the 60 Scoop stole that from me, my voice and my culture and my family. And so telling my stories through music, I think it's easier to listen to that way. For the listener and for myself also to sing it.
Reed says having Indigenous representation at major events like the exhibition is vital, as it provides an opportunity for people to hear the truths of Indigenous peoples.
I think it's important that we do have reconciliation in Canada, but without the truth, we can't have reconciliation. And without our voices, we cannot have the truth. So I feel that every Indigenous person who's taking up space in Canada and speaking up for the truth, I cheer you on.
Indoors, an exhibit features Indigenous-made beadwork, silk embroidery, paper cuttings, clothing, and rugs. Tracy Vereshine, director of displays for the exhibition, says Indigenous art should always be made accessible to the public during large celebrations.
Indigenous art should be included in everything that we do because of the fact that we have been doing it for years from before. We just haven't been putting it in the forefront. It's just kind of sat in the back spaces. But now what we're saying is we really do need to have a reconciliation, and to be able to reconcile properly, we need to be able to show what we haven't had before.
Vereshine says that while the exhibition ends on August 7th, plans for the future are already underway.
This year we've been blessed with over 450 pieces of artwork, as well as numerous pieces of artifacts that are collective old pieces of work, as well as pieces that we're looking forward to already exhibiting and curating for next year.
Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
And finally for us, a young man from the Ebb and Flow First Nation in Manitoba is heading to Bangkok this fall to play in the Thailand Global Basketball League. Sierra Bettens caught up with athlete Seth McKenzie to hear more about his journey.
After a successful college basketball career, Seth McKenzie was ready to head off the court.
Like no plans of doing anything else. I was just kind of content where things finished.
Then, an opportunity 12 time zones and 12,000 kilometers away came knocking, and he couldn't pass it up.
I saw this opportunity come up of this team was like, hey, like we're looking for players, DM us your film and like we'll talk. So that's exactly what I did.
In September, McKenzie is jetting off to Bangkok, Thailand to play professional basketball.
My team is Overseas Supreme, or it's a part of the Thailand Global Basketball League. It's a league made up of 20 teams, and we're all based in Thailand.
A member of the Ebb and Flow First Nation in Treaty 2, McKenzie grew up in Winnipeg and began playing basketball in grade 7.
My brother influenced me to play basketball. When I first started playing, I wasn't too sure because I wasn't really good, but the more time he took with me, the easier it got, and the more I just fell in love with it instantly.
When senior year rolled around, he was determined to play at the college level.
I just didn't really have the right support that players typically get. When I got to my grade 12 year, I started reaching out to different coaches, and it was always, oh, we're filled, like try again next year, we're not looking for someone your position and size. And then I contacted CMU, and me and the coach got along, hit it off pretty well.
The 6-foot-tall shooting guard played for the Canadian Mennonite University Blazers in Winnipeg for 4 years, where he averaged 16 points per game. After earning his bachelor's degree in psychology, he signed a year-long basketball contract with Columbia Bible College in Abbotsford, BC.
To travel to like Vancouver Island, Kelowna, it was just a wonderful experience that last year for us.
While still in Manitoba, McKenzie is playing for the War Chiefs, an Indigenous men's basketball team. As he prepares for his first adventure overseas, he's looking forward to representing his community on a global stage.
I'm just really excited to represent a lot of people, like myself, Indigenous people, represent Winnipeg at the same time, and just represent who we are.
Sierra Bettens, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
And that's your weekend APTN National Newscast. We're back again on Monday for your daytime newscast. Please join us then. From all of us at APTN National News, hi miigwech masicho. Thank you for watching.